Story, and that is Victor Wembanyama being ejected last night for the first time in his career. You can see it here. It's early in the second quarter of the Spurs Game 4 against the Wolves. And Victor, he just elbows Naz Reid in the neck. And then you can see Wemby, after he was assessed the flagrant 2, he seems unsure of what that meant. He asked Harrison Barnes. And now I get to ask Shams Charania, because the league, it came to a decision earlier today already, Shams, on Wemby's foul and any potential future consequences. What did the league decide in terms of future discipline here?
Malika, sources tell me that there will be no further NBA discipline for Victor Wembanyama after that elbow to Naz Reid. So no suspension, no fine. Victor Wembanyama is fully cleared to play in Game 5 on Tuesday night in San Antonio. The two major things to take into account into the NBA's decision is, one, Victor Wembanyama was ejected for the majority of Game 4. But most importantly, there is no prior history, no prior accounts of any violent activity for Victor Wembanyama, and that clearly played a part in the NBA ruling today. No suspension, no fine for Wemby. All right, and that's huge, because now this series is all tied up. They're heading back to San Antonio, and we know how consequential Games 5s are when a series is all tied up at 2-2. Shams, thank you very much for that insight. Naz Reid, though, he was on the other side of that elbow. He had this to say about it.
How much did it impact you? How much did it hurt? And have you been hit like that before in this game?
Pain is weakness leaving the body. That's it.
Pain is weakness leaving the body. But with that, Danny Green, there was still some game left to play here. Here's Anthony Edwards facing the Spurs without Victor.
Man, of course, they're a really great team with him on the floor, but they play a lot slower when he's on the floor because, you know, everything is evolved around him. When he's not on the floor, everybody is playing. It's just like, you know, when every team is missing their best player, everybody plays free, they get more shots, more confident.
Okay, so there are some numbers to back that up, right? Because their offensive efficiency, it was better after Wemby was ejected than it was beforehand. It's tough, though, to adjust when you have your star player, your best player, leave in the middle of a game. But with that, San Antonio, they had a 4-point lead headed into the fourth. Anthony Edwards, though, he took over.
Making big plays. That's what the Stars do.
Ant fired up after that big bucket. And then a few minutes later here, the lead is down to just 2. Naz Reid working. Little handoff there to Anthony Edwards.
Better be up.
And just a little tap on Mitch Johnson afterwards as well. And then 3 minutes left. The Wolves down 1. Naz Reid backing down De'Aaron Fox. Gives it up to Rudy Gobert. And here's where you wonder. Luke Cornett, he held it down inside. But you have to wonder if those easy looks from Gobert just made easier by the fact there was no Victor Wembanyama. Again, attacking the paint with no Wemby to man the middle. And another 35-point game for Edwards. This is the 5th most in NBA history before turning 25, by the way. Under a minute left. Minnesota up 5. Looking to close this out. Ayo DeSumo can't get it to go. Naz Reid right there. What did we say? Manning the paint. So Minnesota able to survive here. Here's Anthony Edwards after the big win.
Today is Mother's Day, and so I just wanted to win for my mom, and it was just that simple.
Was she on your mind all day today? Or
for sure, yeah. I couldn't lose this game for her, for sure.
Anthony Edwards has shared in the past how much Mother's Day means to him and is special for him. He lost his mom to cancer back in 2015, and Ant's playoff career high of 44 points, it also came on Mother's Day, right, in 2024.
Statements.
And after Mother's Day yesterday, Edwards now has more 30-point games in the playoffs than all other players in franchise history combined here. So certainly Anthony Edwards playing for something incredibly special. On the Spurs side of this, though, here's Mitch Johnson talking about the impact of Wemby's ejection.
He's gotten chucked, he's gotten pushed down in transition, running freely, all the stuff. He doesn't complain one time. We don't complain because we're just going to play. We don't really give a excuse my language. But at some stage, he should be protected, and if not, he's going to have to protect himself, and unfortunately, stuff like that happens.
All right. So interesting insight there from Mitch Johnson as we say hello to Big Perk, welcoming Perk into the show. Perk, I'm curious your reaction here because no suspension for Victor. I'm not sure that I would say that that's the reason they lost the game, right? The Wolves, they started attacking the paint the more. Rudy had some dunks down the stretch. How did you see Victor being out impacting this one?
Well, to be honest, obviously it stopped them from being able to get to the cup. But this was all about Anthony Edwards. This was Anthony Edwards embracing and taking over the moment, and he wasn't waiting on anyone else. He was going to get that win. We heard him in the post-game interview talking about he was going to get that for his mama. That was deep in his soul because he did just that. And obviously it opens it up when you don't have your defensive player of the year in the middle to anchor it. So Ant did a fine job of picking that balance and get downhill. But DG, Malika, can y'all listen? This has been an exciting series.
Yes, it has.
Outside of what happened last night, this perimeter play, these guards, Anthony Edwards, Dylan Harper, Jay McDaniels, Champagne, that's his name. Yeah, they've been bumping.
High level.
They've been getting their feet hot, and I love it.
Yeah, certainly. I think that this has been the best series so far of the second round, without a doubt. But, Danny, you noticed a direct impact, right? No Victor Wembanyama. How were the Wolves able to take advantage?
We give a lot of credit to Anthony Edwards, but, Kornet, too, did a great job. But they were attacking the rim. They were attacking the paint when they saw Kornet. Kornet is a good big, can move laterally, but doesn't take up as much space and can recover as fast as Wemby. You see Anthony Edwards come off the screen here, sees little Kornet up high, I'm going to go right at the rim. And Kornet usually can get back, but he's not. It says Wemby can probably get that shot. Luke Kornet can't. Same thing here. Get another screen and roll. Got Kornet in it. You got a little mismatch one-on-one. He has decent foot speed, and Wemby has good foot speed too. But Wemby, again, takes up so much area. He can give more ground. Luke Kornet has to be up on the three-point line to contest these shots and get back. As you see in Sunday's game, 38 drives, shots off drives, second most under Chris Finch. Ironically, the game before, they had 32 kickouts.
Right.
That was the most kickouts under Chris Finch, and this was the second most drives or shots off drives since Chris Finch has been a coach here. So they're getting a lot more open looks, and they're being more aggressive attacking the rim, which they should, and that'll change in Game 5.
Yeah, because you know that in Game 5 now, Victor Wembanyama is going to come back with a bit of a chip on his shoulder.
Sure.
Not because I wasn't sure in real time. As I watched it back, it was a kind of a textbook flagrant two foul, right? But Victor, give him any sort of kindling, he will light that fire, and I certainly expect that in this Game 5. On the other hand, though, we didn't get an Eastern Conference. We got the brooms out. There was a broom sighting for New York. They swept the Philadelphia 76ers, I would say in their own building, but it did feel like Madison Square Garden East. And, Danny, they did it doing something that you do so well, just a barrage of three-pointers.
Yep, the others, those guys showed up. Deuce came out gunning. Him, Landry Shamet, stepped up big.
One more time, Brunson to McBride. Same result.
The whole
McBride
arena
had 25 points, led all scorers here. New York up 43-24 after a quarter, so this one was basically over. Knicks lead by 21. Karl Anthony Towns finds a cutting Josh Hart.
Cat Johnson.
They've been playing through Karl Anthony Towns much more.
They're looking like magic out there. Or Zavitas Sabonis, whoever you want to say. He's done a great job playing that point forward position and finding guys.
He had 10 assists in this game. The Knicks up big. Brunson just toying with the defense.
That's nasty.
And then the Knicks here get the steal. Target practice at this point. Brunson had 22 points in this one. Here's Jalen Brunson
Nick's not
after the
happy.
game. A new meme was born.
We were working every single day to be the best team we can be. That's all we were focusing on. And we had times where we was positive and negatives, ups and downs, but that's what our goal was. And so that's still our goal, be the best team we can be, continue to learn, continue to get better. And so the journey shows you who you are.
And the Knicks have had a journey this season,
Yes,
right?
they
They have
have.
had some serious lows over the course of the year, but now the Knicks have a point differential of plus 190.
On the up and up.
That's the best for any team over a 10-game span in a single postseason, ahead of the 2017 Warriors, the 1971 Bucks. By the way, what do both of those teams have in common? They each won the title. What has the Knicks shown you, Danny, this postseason?
Just a lot of maturity.
Yeah.
And you got to give credit to Mike Brown, of course, and Karl Anthony Towns. They've found a way to work together to make him feel more involved, but not have to feel like he has to shoot it every time. Like he's getting his teammates. I seen him throw a behind the neck pass like he was Luka Doncic in the paint yesterday, and they're just moving and sharing. Also got to give a lot of credit to Mikal Bridges. With OG Anunoby being out, like he's picked up that defensive assignment, and also offensively, he's been more aggressive, knocking down threes in mid-range and looking for a shot. But they're getting so much production from guys like Landry Shamet, who didn't play a minute until Game 3, and gives you 15 points on the bench. Deuce McBride has been a cornerstone. And Jose Alvarado. They got so many different guys that come off the bench to give them production. that is making them look like a real championship group. Like, this is championship basketball, Perk. Like, this is what you need. You have guys like when he was in Boston, you got Eddie House or a Leon Poe or a Posey. When you have your other guys pitching in like this, you know you have a really good chance at winning a championship. Right now, the Knicks are playing championship basketball.
I agree, and in order to win a championship this year, you're going to have to be able to shoot the three at a high level, and they're doing it. Especially if they have plans on, possibly could see the San Antonio Spurs, OKC, or the Minnesota Timberwolves. We know those teams are great at taking away driving gaps, but I want to take a moment to appreciate Big Body Brunson for a second for taking a step back and allowing Coach Mike Brown to put in this new offense, and guess what? He may not be as ball dominant as he was last year, but the numbers and the production and the dominance is still there. He has really grown into a true leader, letting guys get off in the first, second, and third quarter, and then all of a sudden he's taking over in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Jalen Brunson got a lot at stake. I told him this, Malika, in his face when I did his podcast. I said, listen here, bro. Do you know if you bring back a championship to New York, you will be the greatest Knick ever?
Yeah.
And Malika, you've been seeing it. The clip been going viral. You remember when we had Becky Hammond on, Coach Becky, and you remember she was saying that you can't win a championship with a small guard. There's only a few that has done it. If Jalen Brunson could lead this team to winning the championship and join the company of Isaiah Thomas from the Pistons and Steph Curry, ooh, we got smoke in the city.
Well, and now the Knicks, they get essentially at least a week off, even if they move up to start the conference finals next weekend. And that gives OG Anunoby an entire full week to continue to heal.
Facts.
And what is so important to championship DNA, it's skill, but it's also health. So the Knicks, they move on. The draft lottery results are in. The Wizards are the first team to finish with the worst record and get the #1 pick since the lottery odds were flattened in 2019. So look at this. The Bulls, the Grizzlies, the Jazz, they are all big winners. They rose multiple spots here. The Clippers, though, they got the best possible outcome from the Ivica Zubac trade at #5. Their first top 5 pick, remember, since drafting Blake Griffin, first overall in 2009. So let's go out to Chicago now and saying hello to our Bobby Marks, Sean Farnham, Seth Greenberg joining NBA Today live from the Combine. Let's talk about yesterday because a whole lot happened and a whole lot's going down this week. Bobby, I want to start with you. Let's just talk biggest winners and losers here of the draft lottery that we saw yesterday. What do you think?
Well, I think for me, the 3 biggest winners certainly starts at Washington at #1. The ability to stay at #1. They already made the Trae Young trade and Anthony Davis. Now you have the choice between A.J. DeBonsa and Darren Peterson. And then, of course, Utah moving up a couple slots. They have basically who Washington doesn't pick here. And then, Malika, finally, at #3, it's the Los Angeles Clippers. They walked into the draft with 2 second-round picks, and they left with the 5th pick in the draft. A young player now that you compare with Darius Garland, Kawhi Leonard. Certainly a big night if you are a Clipper fan here.
See, Bobby's always going with the glass half full. He's saying the biggest winners that he saw yesterday. And maybe it's because he's feeling like a winner standing next to the two of you, right? All right, then I will take what that implies. That implies that one of the losers that we saw last night was, of course, the Indiana Pacers. Sean, you texted me, woof, this was tough for Indiana, right? And they're front office agreed because on the other side of the Ivica Zubac trade, the Pacers president of basketball operations, Kevin Pritchard, he posted this on social media. He said, "I'm really sorry to all of our fans." He said, "I own taking this risk. Surprised it came up 5th after this year. I thought we were due some luck," he said. "But please remember, this team deserved a starting center to compete with the best teams next year. We have always been resilient." I'm curious, guys. I've never seen accountability like that from a front office on social media in the wake of a draft lottery. Have you? What did you all think of this?
Well, I'll just tell you as a Clippers fan, I love that. But, you think about it from the Pacers' perspective, though. This was a team without Tyrese Halliburton this year that took so many losses, and the idea of getting a healthy Tyrese Halliburton back, plus a potential #1, #2 type pick. Now, all of a sudden, because you got Zubac, if that would have gone right for them, they're in play in the Eastern Conference to get back to the finals where they were before Tyrese Halliburton got hurt, in my opinion.
Right.
I still wouldn't have done it.
I'm glad they did. Clip City, Chip City, baby. Let's go.
Hindsight is 20/20 here, Coach.
Malika, you know this. Every trade has a risk, whether it be 1 to 10, and certainly this Indiana trade was a 10 as far as the risk that associates when you got Zubac in the deal, but the ability to give up the 5th pick in the draft. Certainly, I felt for Kevin Pritchard yesterday. I've never seen a post-lottery where the president is issuing a statement and then doing a mini press conference right after that. I felt like I was back working in a front office. My heart basically sunk for the man because he had to explain why he went out and did that deal.
Making decisions not that easy.
It is not easy.
Suggestions much easier.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about this draft class that we're looking at, though, right? Sean, you see one team as having a big decision to make. What is that?
I think this draft can get really interesting potentially at the number 3 pick with Memphis because this is a draft that is so talented at the guard position. What do they decide to do with Ja Morant? Because if you move Ja Morant, this is the draft to go get yourself a guard and potentially get them in that 3rd spot, which therefore would mean that a guy like Cam Boozer all of a sudden could maybe fall to number 4 with the Chicago Bulls. Ja Morant is interesting because I think if they do move him, I like Darius Acuff and the fit of what he would bring to the Memphis Grizzlies, pairing him up with Ced Coward. They hit a home run last year when they drafted Cedric Coward. And now all of a sudden, if you get a young backcourt and it's something you believe you can move forward with, because regardless of who they pick there, Memphis is still miles away from being at Oklahoma City or the San Antonio Spurs.
Sean, that sounds good in theory, but like in reality, who's going to take on his contract the next 3 years?
Well, that's the big question as far as he's got 2 years left on his deal. He's extension eligible here. I think if you're Memphis, does it make sense to potentially move back in the draft if you can get off the Ja Morant contract? Because as we've talked about it, we've got, 7 guards that could go in the top 10. So maybe if you move back from 3 to 7, perhaps, and maybe pick up something else, you will have one of those guards basically staring at you.
Right, and you had questioned, Bobby, where some of those bigs from Michigan maybe could go if they move back. Is that a sort of fit that we could be looking at here? All right, Seth, before we let you go, you guys are at the Combine. You have a lot of talent that you're going to be seeing this week. What are you going to be watching most closely?
You know, for these young people, it's the next stage in their basketball careers. Think about it. There are certain things that you go through as a player. First is obviously when you sign your letter of intent to play in college. Your first college game, maybe playing in the NCAA tournament. But that journey now ends here at the Combine for these young people. And I think the big thing is we're going to see tomorrow, we're going to see, and actually tonight, we're going to see incredible groupings in terms of the ability to evaluate players on court drills and basically their skill set. But more importantly, there's going to be one grouping. That front court grouping, it's going to have Caleb Wilson in it. I think Caleb Wilson's the most undervalued player in this draft because he was not healthy down the stretch. The guy is a genetic freak. 6'10", reminds me of Kevin Durant. Explosive, impacts the game offensively, defensively, at the rim, can drive it. Love the way he's shooting the ball in his workouts. To me, he's plug and play, a guy that can dominate the game on both ends, and he's just scratching the surface. I really believe he has the highest ceiling of any of these talented front court players.
Wow. What I'm most looking forward to, Malika, is the fact, Rich Eisen runs the 3/4 court sprint. We're going to have Seth do that tomorrow and see how he looks in the 3/4 sprint.
Sean, I expect you to be out there with the stopwatch. Be unforgiving.
With a really bad hamstring, I can tell you that.
Oh, gosh, and the excuses start already. Get the stretching going, safe from advancing to the conference finals as their domination over the Lakers continued. They have won all 7 meetings against LA this season by an average margin of more than 25 points a game. As for the series, OKC, they just have so many weapons. Chet, Shea, A.J. Mitchell, they're all averaging north of 20 points, and that has pushed the Lakers to the brink of elimination. LeBron James's teams, they've faced a 3-0 deficit 6 times in his career. He's been swept in 3 of those situations. So now welcoming in our senior writer, Dave McMenamin, who covers the Lakers for us. Who covered Danny Green, who covered Kendrick Perkins for a time as well. LeBron is facing being swept. It's a situation that he's been in before. You spoke to him about this. What's his mindset going into this game?
So I asked him with the prospect of an elimination game coming up, and you would know that this is maybe the last time this group gets to play together. Do you acknowledge it with one another and let's do what we can because we may never have a moment like this again? And he said, no, we don't talk about that. It's just about approaching the moment at hand. Now, of course, when I asked him that question, I wasn't really just asking about that group. I was asking about his context within that group in particular. This is the first time in his Laker career, 8 years in, we'll be going into a summer without a contract option with the Lakers. fully unrestricted free agent. Now, earlier in the year, I think one of the options that we were weighing was whether he would play, period.
Yeah.
I would say all indicators say that he will continue playing NBA basketball.
Right.
Sure.
But the question is whether we'll be in Los Angeles. And, you know, if he wants to be able to enjoy life, build his businesses off the court, get in golf every day on an off day in Southern California, obviously his family, and win, all of them are kind of here. I think the winning part's the only part that you have to get answered.
And also potentially how much money it could be worth, right? The contract piece here in Los Angeles, because they don't have the contracts that LeBron James has been used to signing here to offer. You two have both played with LeBron. Having that context, what do you think? Do you think that he is going to return to Los Angeles?
I don't. I think that there's a chance, but I just don't see a world where LeBron James takes a pay cut of what they're going to ask of him to do. And again, I think the winning part might come into, he wants to be here with his family, build his businesses. I expect only one more year after this year. If it's just 1 year, I don't think it matters to him. And if it ends up back in Cleveland, I think he'd be okay with that. And you have a better chance of also coming out of the East with Cleveland. The East is not as strong as the West. Being here with the Lakers, but yeah, and I just don't see a world where he allows himself to be valued at a discount.
What do you think, Perk?
Well, I know the Lakers have been talking over this past season about turning the page, right? And I know Braun, he's smart enough to weigh all his options. If I'm Braun, I'm not rushing to anything. I don't have my mind made up. And I actually leave this opportunity to return back for the Lakers open, because what's happening is right now, if you're the Lakers and you're sitting up here saying, well, hey, the plan was to build around Luka and Austin Reeves. Okay, Luka, we get it. Austin Reeves, and I get it, he's coming back off an injury, but what he's displayed in these playoffs has been pretty damn bad, to say he's auditioning to be a franchise of one of the most historic franchises in sports, a franchise that's about championships. And so you got to ask yourself, if you're Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka, hey, can Austin Reeves be my second option on the championship team? He hasn't showed that this postseason, offensively and defensively. Last game, they were literally headhunting him and picking on him. You can't have two guys that are not good or average defenders as your franchise guys. You could have your top dog is that, but your second option got to be able to defend. And if you're Braun, you're sitting back and you're saying, I'm going to wait to see what kind of moves the Lakers make. I know what a championship team look like. And then all of a sudden, maybe the Lakers make some moves that it look like eye candy, and all of a sudden we get reporting from my boy Dave saying that LeBron James is returning back to Los Angeles.
Well, my boy Perk, I want to tell you this, though. Austin, the context of him as a player is when he has LeBron James and Luka Doncic on the court. I think when you think about him, it's not necessarily just as a number two option. Now, I do think that will be the conversation that occurs when it comes to the dollar amount that will be offered. If his representatives can get Chicago or get Brooklyn to offer that full max, then maybe the conversation shifts. But as it stands now, Austin said repeatedly, I hope to finish my career a Laker. So I do think they have some kind of intrinsic buy-in from Austin to begin with, which could give a bit of a discount. Then maybe you also get LeBron to give some sort of a discount if you know that he's coming back. And then there's a further plan to fill out this roster. Because you can't just have Luka, LeBron, and Austin on the court. That wouldn't be enough in this OKC series. You got to have 10, 11 guys who can play and affect the game.
No, I agree. And Dave, listen, I hope every morning and wish every morning that I could lose weight overnight. But it just don't happen that way, right? And so, look, to me, if I'm evaluating the Lakers roster, if I'm Braun, I'm saying to myself, okay, I see the flaws in Austin Reeves. To me, it's two guys that have proven themselves to be untouchable. Obviously, one of them is Luka Doncic. The other one, in my opinion, who has made a big impression on me is Marcus Smart. And I'm not looking at his shooting numbers in this series because he has done an outstanding job defensively on guarding SGA, who's arguably the best player in the world. So, again, I'm just asking because we're talking about a tough Western Conference, San Antonio, OKC, Minnesota. All these teams are not going anywhere. Is Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic two guys that could be leading the face of your franchise and take you to the promised land?
Well, and I think this is this is unspooled into a conversation that we could be having tomorrow, right? I think a lot of us here expect that the Oklahoma City Thunder, the way that they've been playing, to take care of business. But these are questions for the Lakers offseason. There's going to be a lot that they're going to have to deal with. But, you know, we'll see how everything shakes out tonight. Yeah. Dave, thank you. We got two games, though, happening. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they're trying to even up their series against the Pistons. They've been enjoying that home cooking perk during these playoffs. They're undefeated at home this postseason. They've yet to win a game on the road, actually. They're the sixth team in postseason history, 5-0 at home and 0-5 on the road. They still trail the series 2-1, though, to the Pistons after winning Game 3. So, Danny, Game 4, what is it going to come down to, do you think, tonight?
For me, it's the bigs. I mean, Evan Mobley and Jared Allen have to show up. Of course, everybody keeps talking about James Harden. He has to do this, do that. But those two guys, Evan Mobley is supposed to be your second star. You got to play like your first star. If he continues to be aggressive, rebound, attack the rim like this, block shots, and Jared Allen running the floor and making Jalen Duren work, that eliminates all those issues and a lot of what Tobias has done for them offensively if those two guys show up. So I like what the bigs can bring to the table. And at home, they play way better at home than they do on the road. The whole team does. But these two guys are the key. Well,
but as Kendrick Perkins, you have reminded us often, you feel that how the bigs play, how Evan Mobley, how Jared Allen show up, it's directly connected in some ways to James Harden, right?
Oh, absolutely. And James Harden has to duplicate what he did in Game 3 and do the same thing. Like, history tells us that he go one game and then miss 5. But right here, he get this mismatch with Tobias Harris. Now, look at the spacing. You got Max Strus on that strong side corner, so there's no help there, and he gets to dancing with that rock. And we know how dangerous he is when he gets to going into his bag. Here go again, getting the screen, the switch with Tobias Harris. Now look what they do. They lift Donovan Mitchell up. Now it's James going to a 4-point play. If James can continue to bring that type of energy, especially in the fourth quarter, and look to score, that's the main thing. He wasn't looking to pass. He was looking to be the James Harden of Houston. He only had 1 assist, but look to score. I think sometimes he's trying to fit in and find that balance. Right. No, at this point in time, with you being down in the series, Donovan Mitchell needs to look to attack, and then James Harden. And I thought they did a great job collectively in Game 3, the both of them getting it done. Yeah, this series could have a completely different coloring to it if the Cavaliers are able to even things up. And I did love what James Harden said after when he was asked about the chat. What chatter? What chatter? That's what he said. All right, let's get to some news coming up here on NBA. Telling our Shams Charania that the Bucks are open for business on trade calls and offers for two-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo entering the NBA Combine and over 6 weeks away from the draft. This is what Shams is reporting, and he is joining us now. Shams, you have been all over the Milwaukee Bucks beat this season, but it feels like we're finally starting to reach an apex, maybe even a tipping point here. What can you tell us about what's next for Giannis and the Bucks?
Malika, resolution is on the way for both the Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Bucks officials are expecting an active week of conversations at the draft combine that'll be the groundwork for the next several weeks. This has been a 12-month-long saga, but now team sources tell me that they are officially open for business, hearing out on trade calls and offers before the NBA draft on June 23rd, because Bucks co-owner Jimmy Haslam said last week that they will either get a long-term commitment from Giannis or trade him by the NBA draft. My understanding is this will be a simple conversation about whether Giannis wants to be there long-term or not. He has told the Bucks for a period of months now that he believes it's time to part ways, to move on. I'm told that stance has not changed. So then it's going to become about where he feels he wants to play long-term, where he's willing to commit long-term, because Malika, he's only got one guaranteed year left on his contract. That means that gives him a level of sway and some level of control over his future.
Right, and so the escalation now, what's different this week is that the Bucks are fielding calls actively about what Giannis's future is going to look like here in Milwaukee and beyond. Shams, thank you very much for that insight. I know this has been a story that has gone on a very long time for our friends Shams Charania here. Danny, what do you think? What do you think is next for Giannis and the Bucks?
It's been time. It's time to move on. I love the fact that Taylor Jenkins is there. I think he's a great coach, especially if you're trying to rebuild and get some fresh air in there. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of people in the running trying to get Giannis. Like, I know the Knicks were one of them, but they're playing great basketball right now. I don't think they need him. You know, they're playing good basketball. So those other teams, Houston, Golden State, you know, could be a fit. But whoever it is, Giannis, he could fit almost anywhere because he's that good. But you got to have another star there and some shooting around him, like so he can open up the floor.
Right.
But it's definitely time for him to move on. It's time for them to move on as an organization and just, you know, restart this thing.
Shams did say in his reporting on ESPN.com, though, that Perk, yes, the Bucks are fielding calls, but him re-signing is still an option here for Milwaukee. What do you make of all this?
See, and that's what I'm saying, Malika. Like, at what point is we gonna stop this in between? When Shaw's report this, I said, you know what? After we talked on NBA Today last week, I thought that this was a foregone conclusion that if they had the conversation and once we heard Bucks open up for trade talks, that Giannis went into the meeting with his owner and said, I'm ready to move on. If I'm the Boston Celtics, I'm going to say this out loud. If I'm the Boston Celtics, I'm picking up the phone. I'm one of those phone calls that's dialing into the Milwaukee Bucks. Who don't want to see Jason Tatum and Giannis Antetokounmpo together? I mean, they might have to give up Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
But damn it, we're about championships, Malika, over here in the Beantown. I want to see that smoke.
Big talk.
Brad Stevens, I don't know
Brown.
if that video is real. He got a new haircut. That means he got a new vision. And I got a vision with him. Jason Tatum and Giannis Antetokounmpo.
New haircut means a new vision, and I appreciate, Perk, that you leaned into the camera to show us your lineup to emphasize that. Bobby Marks, no hair here, but whenever Perk is firing up
smooth.
Whenever Perk is firing up the trade machine, can that even work? First of all, just real quick.
Well, sure. I mean, it looks when you're talking about Boston, it would probably cost you Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum.
All right.
I think the one thing that we've learned, and you know this, Malika, is that the playoffs, teams react differently when you lose in the playoffs.
That's right.
There's a lot of disappointed front offices out there when looking at Miami, Golden State, Boston, Houston, we can put in the equation here. There are teams that are certainly, there's a desperation when a player like Giannis becomes on the market. And I think the combine where we're at right now kind of is the first phase of this as far as the information gathering. If you are Milwaukee, who has the 10th pick in this draft, as far as what else can you get potentially in another lottery pick?
Right. So there's a lot of conversations that need to happen for Milwaukee right now about what that future could look like. And as Jimmy Haslam has said, the co-owner of the Bucks, he wants to sort this before the NBA draft and have that clarity. Could the Golden State Warriors, another team that we know has been making phone calls, according to Shams, be in that conversation? Well, they have had a busy week. Steve Kerr, he's back in the Bay. He agreed to a 2-year contract to return as the Warriors coach. It's going to be his 13th season with Golden State. So let's say hello to our Anthony Slater. He covers all things Warriors for us. And Slater, what went into Steve Kerr's decision to return here to Golden State?
Yeah, I mean, it was a 3-week process, and you can almost split it into those 3 weeks. The first week was about getting away. You can remember the Friday night elimination in Phoenix and then him saying he needs some space, some time away from the grind. Thought about it a ton. The start of that second week, the Monday meeting that we reported on in that second week was with Joe Lacob and Mike Dunleavy. And to me, that is when they all came together for 2 hours at the Chase Center facility and decided they did want to move forward together. And Steve Kerr wasn't burnt out. He still wanted to coach. They talked philosophy. They talked roster, you know, what they can or, you know, may be able to do this summer. And then really the third week, this past week, was about contracts, dollars, years, tying up some loose ends. And I just think that the 2-year aspect of it is important to the franchise. That meant Steve Kerr was kind of pledging that next year wasn't just some last dance, some nostalgia tour. They want to compete next year. And then from the Steve Kerr side, I think everything points to Steph Curry. There is a real desire over the next couple of years. They're probably not chasing championships, but they want to guide this Steph Curry era out in a dignified way. And all sides, including Steve Kerr, agreed that he was the right coach to do that.
Oh, and Golden State will also have a lottery pick this year, and so they're going to have to manage that, what it looks like with Steph Curry and what it looks like as they're trying to build the Golden State Warriors for the future. But for the next 2 years, it's going to be respect for that reporter, the reporter who was doing her hit and being unmoored by those fans. Although at the end of the day, this is another second-round exit for Joel Embiid. He's the only career 20-point-a-game scorer in the playoffs to lose 6 straight series in the second round. As of now, he's also the only MVP in league history to have never made the conference finals. So after the game, Embiid, he spoke about his past, his present, what's next in Philadelphia.
I know we lost, you know, and I know that's not the right mentality to have. But, you know, for me, this was a success. We came into the season thinking that, you know, there was not much left, you know, based on the last 2 years. And now I'm sitting here, you know, not even worrying about my knee. I don't know who's going to be here. I don't even know if I'm going to be here, but, you know, whatever happens, happens. But, you know, for me, I'm excited about, you know, really getting back to myself.
I would say pretty good chance, right? Because to be clear, Embiid, he's got 3 more years left on his contract.
Big money.
$188 million over that span and a player option in the 3rd season. So that would be a really difficult contract to move. But, Danny, you played with him.
Yeah.
What do you think needs to come next year for Philly?
There needs to be some changes. I understand where he's coming from, successful for him because he's healthy. But for them, I don't think this was a successful season. Like, they beat Boston. That was over-exceeding some expectation. But being a 7 seed, they were supposed to be one of the top seeds. When they got Paul George, acquired him 2 years ago, they were supposed to make noise, be a top 4 seed. This year, the same. In the playoffs, you can't beat Boston, then get swept by the Knicks. To credit the Knicks, like, they look bad because the Knicks were so good. But Philly
the Knicks are playing incredible basketball.
But you can't beat Boston and then get swept by you know, the Knicks like that, in that fashion. So, yes, but there need to be some changes. I don't know what they need to be, but they need to fix some things or change some things.
Yeah.
And like Joel, he's in the unknown as well because he knows his contract's so big and his health. Unfortunate, he hasn't been healthy enough. Reason why he's not been in the conference finals. His body's feeling better, but they need to make some bigger changes this offseason.
All right, so Philadelphia is eliminated. The New York Knicks move on. But, Perk, we got some action tonight. The Knicks swept the Thunder. They are looking to do the same. Looking ahead to tonight's game, what do you think is going to be the key here for the Lakers if they want to keep their season alive?
What's going to have to come down to those guys being able to, one, get stops, but continue to make shots. Like, they have to make 3-point shots in order to beat the Thunder. And they got to, listen, I believe that SGA, he understands the moment and he's ready to get out of that slump. He's going to come out firing. He's going to come out on one tonight. Austin Reeves is going to have to match that intensity. If I'm JJ Redick, I'm going to say this to you too. I got a short leash when it comes to DeAndre Ayton. Matter of fact, I might not even start him. I might start Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes at least bring a certain type of tenacity and force, but it's all about SGA. Tonight, SGA is going to get out of that slump, and they're going to close it out, and the Lakers are going to get swept. There's no way in hell anybody could tell me that the Lakers want to get back on that plane and head to Oklahoma for a Game 5. I know I wouldn't, and DG, you wouldn't either.
Yeah, but
you know it.
They got some pride, they have some fight, but they just don't have enough. So I'm with Perk here, and it's not about. I mean, SGA is trying to get, but give credit to the Lakers. They're the reason why SGA is playing under his normal self because they're doubling him.
Right.
But it's the others. The other guys are putting up 131 points. If those guys continue to shoot that well, AJ Mitchell, then you got Jared McCain, then you got Kaysen Wallace, then you got Isaiah Joe.
Right.
So many guys are giving him production. Chet shooting 3. He's shooting 48% from 3, I think, at one point in the series. So, yeah, but AJ Mitchell making a big difference here. He's getting the pick and roll. They're not expecting him to be like SGA, but if he gets that mismatch of one-on-one, let me have this dance. Maxi Kleber, you cannot guard me. Your feet are too slow. He is very good. He's got a little bit of Brunson in him, but a little more athletic, as he shows right here. Gets a mismatch with Austin Reeves. Gets up in the air, a little bit of hang time. This is something Brunson cannot do. He can play up 2 feet, but he can't jump, hang in the air, shoot over Rui Hachimura, and finish like that. This kid is a young player, but he's playing like a seasoned vet, and they have so many different guys on their lineup that can do these things.
Yeah, he has been tremendous. The Lakers, their season is on the line tonight. Cleveland looks to even up their series against Detroit. We're gonna break it all down for you tomorrow. NFL Live's coming up next.